Hello, my name is Jimmy and this is the 2023 Toyota Sequoia. After 14 years with the previous generation, we have a brand new version. Based on the Toyota Tundra, it's new from front all the way to the back. So let me tell you everything that you need to know, starting with the looks. This example right here is the Canadian spec limited with the TRD Pro option checked off. As here in Canada, TRD Pro is a checkbox above limited rather than its own, trim. So it's a little different, but overall it's the same vehicle. On the front end, you do get these blacked out LED headlamps. They do look really, really good. In the middle, you have the large Toyota grille and of course the lettering right in the center, running lamps on top, as well as a light bar a little bit below that. You do get fog lamps down below, but no tow hooks, something that the TRD Pro, the Tundra, was missing as well. But I'm sure in the aftermarket world, there's something that's gonna be there for you. Moving around to the side, we do get these 18-inch BBS forged alloys wrapped in 33-inch Falcon Wild Peaks. Pretty good tire combo, to be very honest, for most people's needs, a good AT tire. I do like this TRD Pro emblem right on the top of the hood here. And these fender flares, instead of just being regular matte black, they're actually textured, which is quite nice. You do get blacked out mirror caps and running boards down below. You do get proximity door locks as well, only on the front doors, not on the rear. So you can't lock and unlock the rear doors as you need. Also included on top is this roof rack. Maximum weight for that is 110 pounds. Moving to the back, you do get a little bit of a lip spoiler on top, which I do like. And with a button, you can open up the glass. Love that feature. And of course, you can have the entire trunk open. But before we get to that, look at these LED tail lamps. They do look quite good. It's a pretty good looking rear end. And because it is a TRD Pro, you do get the TRD exhaust. Honestly, it's a good looking truck. I have no problems with the visuals of this truck at all. It mixes everything that you really need from the Tundra and, well, put it into an SUV. That's basically what this is. While they did do a pretty good job on the looks, one thing that they didn't do so well is packaging. In here, I get 12 cubic feet of space behind the third row. Not a lot. And it's not the most useful. Let me explain. First of all, this load floor is decent. It's not bad, but it only goes up to here. So you get like 9 inches worth of space that's on the lowest level here. If you want more space, you can push the third row forward, but then there's going to be no space for the third row passengers, like literally no leg space whatsoever. Then you get a little bit more of a platform, but the platform, it's not flat with this. So unless you're putting Tetris bricks in here, this is not all that useful. Now, yes, you can fold the third row down, but they don't fold down flat with the floor. Now, you really need a very odd looking Tetris piece that fits on the first level, then the second, and then the third. Of course, Toyota engineers have thought of a little workaround for this. Moving my bag up, they have this little shelf here where you can put it on the first level, then it's flat with this. So you get this much space that's flat. Not too bad. I mean, if you have the third row up, you can still kind of use this space here. And if you want, you can move it up one more and then flip these flaps over, but move the seat back a little bit. And now you get this flat space like this. I mean, yes, you do get a larger flat load floor, but the problem with this is now the load height is like here. It's up to my stomach. So like if you're grabbing a stroller or whatever, you're lifting that all the way up here. That's not going to be easy for your back. But you still get space underneath. But you're not fitting much under there. And of course, there's that third level, which you can put right on the top here. And then you can use it like a shelf. Or you can move the seats back a little and you get more space underneath, but definitely not the best in terms of just overall layout. This doesn't make sense, but let's check out that third row. All right, getting to the third row, you got two options really. You can just jump in through the middle as this is a 7-passenger layout, or you can fold the seats and it's one lever and it goes forward. Not too bad. All right, jumping into the third row. I'm not particularly tall, I'm 5'11". And sitting back here, I'm right on the headliner and there's just not a lot of space. I can recline the seat back, but if I do, my neck is cranked like this. I mean, is this worse or is this worse? Either way, I think upright is probably the most comfortable you're going to be for the backrest. In terms of legroom, well, putting the second row back up here, it's okay, I would say. I mean, I have definitely a little bit more space in front of me, but not that much. And if you're going to be, well, carrying anyone's stuff in the third row, if you're going to slide this seat, okay, one sec. Let's move the legs out of the way first. If I move it all the way forward, yeah, this, I don't know if you can see on camera, but I basically have no leg room. Like zero. Like I can't fit my feet under here. Not the most comfortable. Definitely not. There are definitely a lot bigger three-row SUVs out there, especially in this full-size segment. The packaging, because of the live rear axle that they have under this, they just, well, aren't able to do things that the Expedition or the Tahoe does. And those two are really, really good products. So this is definitely a miss. But you do get shades on the side, which is nice, 4 cup holders, and 1 USB-C charge port on the driver's side for you to fight over. So if you're going to be carrying 3 people back here, because you do have 3 seat belts, good luck with that. But let's move up to the front. All right, the second row. I mean, space, pretty good for my legs. I'm 5'11", as I said, and I mean, plenty of space for my legs, and it's actually pretty good overall. Headroom, not bad as well, but if I lean forward, then it's a little different as this kind of protrudes down. Because the TRD Pro has the standard sunroof rather than a panoramic sunroof, you actually get a little bit more headroom in here because of that, which is actually kind of nice. The seats themselves, unfortunately, there's no sliders on them, so you can't move them fore and aft to, well, help with whoever's in the third row, but you can lean them upright a little bit or back a little bit more, depending on your position. Vents on the top, climate controls in the center. You get 1 USB-A and 1 USB-C, as well as a 120 volt outlet as well. Shades on the side, which are actually quite nice to have if you have kiddos. Not bad. If you're thinking about putting child seats in here, I am a child passenger safety technician. On the driver's side here, this is a collect lane infant seat. As you can see, plenty of space for an infant carrier to slide into the cabin. The doors open nice and wide for that, not a problem at all. On the passenger side, this is a collect FUMF, a river-facing child seat. Once again, big cabin, no issues whatsoever. During the time I had with the vehicle, getting my child in and out, no problems with it whatsoever. Really, really good use of space. The only thing is the second row, if you're going to be putting child seats in here, you essentially lose access to the third row because you can't really, well, go around the seat itself, especially if it's rear facing. If it's forward facing, definitely easier. Speaking of forward facing, because there's only 3 upper anchors within this vehicle, you can only have 3 forward facing seats in here. On the driver's side, on the passenger side here on the second row, and 1 in the middle in the third row. While you can put adults beside that child seats, it's very, very tight. In terms of lower anchors, there's only 2 sets, 1 on the driver's side and 1 on the passenger side. That's it. So in terms of anchors, there's a lot less than, well, its competitors, which can limit the amount of kiddos that you put in here. But if you're really looking for a large family Toyota SUV, probably should take a look at the Grand Highlander. From the pictures I've seen, it's, well, a better family vehicle in terms of space anyways. But let's move up to the front. All right, the front seats, very comfortable. These Softech seats are great. They are quite wide and they don't have a lot of bowstrings, so they don't really hold you in. But for most people, that should be fine. They're heated as well as cooled with a 2-way lumbar support. So that's it. There's no vertical adjustment to it. So depending on your height, it might not be the most comfortable. You do get a heated steering wheel in the front. I do like it. TRD logo on the bottom, and you get this little stripe on the top as well. You got really all the buttons you need for your infotainment and your driver assistance. So really no problems there. Behind that, a full digital cluster. It actually looks pretty good. I like the big tack in the center and the digital readout. It actually is quite clean. It's definitely not as configurable as some other manufacturers, but I mean, it does the job to show you what you need, but not much more than that. As the TRD Pro isn't the top of the line package, even at 91,000 Canadian dollars, you don't get a heads-up display. No, you only get the digital cluster. You have to step up to the upper trims for that. As for the large 14-inch display in the center, I mean, it's like basically a laptop in here. It looks really good, and the wireless CarPlay works really well. And that's mainly what I've been using because I don't have a subscription for the navigation. I get it, you know, Toyota has to make money because they're not making money from services because their vehicles are so reliable. They gotta make money on navigation. That's one thing, right? But you do get a row of dedicated climate control buttons, which I do like, and you're basically able to adjust everything that you need, and there's a dedicated volume knob as well. So it has everything that you really would want to use physically there, so I can't really blame them for that. You get this big TRD shifter in the center with this red stripe in the center. Below that, you do get your drive mode selector as well as your four-wheel drive controls, cup holder in the center, and then this, well, kind of odd-looking center console. You got a flap here where you can store some really thin stuff, and then you get this tray here where you can store other thin stuff, but you can slide that away to grab whatever's in your center console. Unless you want to open the whole thing, then you can have your center console. But you have a USB-A and a USB-C charge point in here, and coin holders if you still use coins. I mean, it's not that bad, to be honest. Center console to center console. It has the armrest, which I like, and that's the main thing, really. The cabin of this is, well, basically like the Tundra. It looks really good, and I actually kind of like the red that's in here. It actually stands out. The materials, they're not too bad for places that you normally would touch, but the dash, yeah, that's quite plasticky. You're not really going to be touching that, so I don't think that's going to be that big of a problem. Because this is a TRD Pro, you do get a big Toyota stamped on the passenger side. I guess that's kind of cool. If you have the top trim, the capstone, then it's a little different there with ambient lighting as well. But I guess this with big Toyota badge is cooler. Anyways, let's talk about the powertrain. Under the hood, you'll get one option here. It's a 3.4-liter twin-turbo hybrid V6. It makes 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. Mated to that is a 10-speed automatic, and in Canada here, 4-wheel drive. And all of that power equates to, well, 0 to highway speeds in under 6 seconds, which is quite good. And power is readily available. You just put that foot down. It actually has a decent exhaust note. And no, it's not just what it sounds inside here. Even outside, it actually sounds quite good. Have a listen. Now, because it is a hybrid, you would expect pretty good fuel economy. And unfortunately, it doesn't like surpass what I thought it could do. The system in here, it's just, well, it isn't as good as Ford's Power Boost. Because in the F-150 Power Boost, like I get the Expedition doesn't get that, but in the Ford Power Boost, well, I got 10 liters for 100 kilometers. In this, currently I'm averaging 17. 17! I mean, yes, that's higher than what is rated, for sure. But 17? Really? I thought I could do better. And especially when I just came out of the GMC Yukon Denali, and that had the 6.2 liter V8, and that was averaging 18 liters for 100 kilometers. I mean, only saving 1 liter for every 100 kilometers with a hybrid system and 2 less cylinders? Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you can get better fuel economy. This, with the TRD Pro, you lose out on a few things. You don't get the active grille shutters in the front. You don't get that lower valence on the front. You don't get, well, the standard road tires. You get AT tires. And all of that, including that roof rack, which makes a whole lot of noise. Well, all of that equates to, well, less than stellar fuel economy. But to be honest, like, 17 isn't horrible considering it's about where the Tacoma's at. Or is that just really bad for the Tacoma? Not sure. In terms of ride and handling though, this TRD Pro, not the most comfortable on the road. It's sprung actually, well, a lot stiffer than you might think. And because of that, it's a little bit more jittery than I like. And because it is a body-on-frame vehicle with a live rear axle, well, it just doesn't absorb all the road imperfections as much as I like. So going over rough roads, like most roads here in Vancouver, it just kind of jostles me around a little bit more than I want. But it does mean that like in the turns, it actually feels pretty planted, more than you would expect in a vehicle like this. But the Denali Ultimate, that was a whole lot better, thanks to MagneRide, of course. But this isn't horrible by any means. But with the AT tires, you're not going to be really chucking this in around any corners anyways. It's not designed to. It's, well, designed to go off-road, which it certainly can. It absolutely can. But are you? Who's going to be buying this 91,000 Canadian dollar large SUV and taking it off-road? Probably not the first person that's going to be buying it. In like 10 years or so, when it depreciates a little bit, people like myself would be looking at something like this and be like, that's perfect for my overland vehicle. I mean, I'm sure there are people that's going to be buying this brand new and hitting the trails and whatnot, but not as many as like maybe like a base model Sequoia, because here in Canada, the base model is a TRD off-road, and you get a lot of goodies with that as well. And a lot of the TRD Pro stuff, you can get that aftermarket, and it is cheaper, but you don't get the resale, of course, with the TRD Pro. And that's one of the best things about this package, the resale. Because, you know, in 10 years, when people like me are lining up to buy something like this, and I still have to pay a pretty penny for it. And that's really the gist of it. That's probably the best part about this. Oh, I should also talk about on the highway. Safety Sense 2.5. The adaptive cruise control works well. The lane keep, it is a lane keep, not lane centering. So it kind of bounces you within your lanes a little. Not the best safety systems, but better than Safety Sense P that the Tacoma has. So it's an upgrade from that. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. This versus Ford's Timberline versus GM's AT4. Which would you pick? I really like the looks of the Timberline, but I kind of would like an AT4, especially with that diesel. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.